Hello, guys. This is Kean from Football Obsession, back with you for another Premier League game week review. Third stream of the week. I'm with Robbie today. How are you, Robbie?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are you?
Good. I'm good, thanks. Yeah, there's obviously a lot going on right now in the world and in the world of football. Some not so positive, mostly not so positive, but we're going to try and be positive with it and try and discuss the possibilities of what will happen going forward, as well as discussing what's just happened in the Premier League game week. I'm looking forward to getting into it. So we'll get into the first two questions here. We have three people saying, let me bring my camera down a little bit. Just for the record, Mbappe is the greatest athlete to grace this planet. Not the greatest athlete to grace this planet. That's Tariq Lamptey. No, that's Ronaldo, of course. Afternoon, both. Gavin says, afternoon, mate. I hope you're all right. So obviously, there's 7 games been played this game week. There was 3 called off, including the United game, which I was gutted about, and a lot of us were. But we'll get into it now. We'll get into, first of all, the undeserved 7-0 win. that absolutely they should have lost that game. City, the undeserved 7-0 win. So. Do you think that these are going to just go on to win the title if you're considering this win?
Well, if they keep that up, then I'd assume they'd go on and win the title. But, you can't be conceding 31 shots in any Premier League game. It's unacceptable.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, Messi had an absolute shocker of a game.
Yeah, well, I had it on and I turned it off at 3-0 and put the Norwich Aston Villa game on. I thought, I'm not just going to watch my rivals getting battered. My rivals battering my other rivals. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't want to watch that. And City are obviously so much better than Leeds, and Leeds look like they're going to get relegated, which is a good thing for us. But like, it's not looking great for United, considering of who we want to win the title. If we're not going to win the title, I'd prefer Chelsea to win the title over City and Liverpool. And do you know what I mean? And it's not looking good at all. Kind says, what type of questions wanted? We'll just get into it as we go along. That the conversation will flow. So in terms of Leeds, do you think they will get relegated, or do you think they will have just enough?
I think they will get relegated. I actually back Norwich to stay up.
So do I actually.
Yeah.
I think. I'm not sure. I think obviously Dean Smith's an all right manager. He's decent. He's not anything special, but he's decent. And the possibility of them staying up, I think, is a lot stronger than let's say a month ago now. A lot of players are losing. A lot of teams are losing players, and Norwich have just had a hard run of games, which they've come out of sort of, I wouldn't say unscathed because they've lost a few, but they've also picked up a few points along the way, and it's not that far apart at the bottom of the league. You know what I mean? From outside the relegation zone to the relegation zone. So I think they can catch up. Also, they're going to have some recovery time. I'm not sure whether the Norwich game goes ahead or not on Saturday or Sunday. I'm not sure whether that happens, but obviously, I think they will stay up. Do you think the possibility of Bielsa? Obviously, Bielsa is a very good manager in the sense of his style of play is very attractive to a lot of people. Do you think that he will end up being sacked and losing the job?
Eventually, if he keeps up the form that he's on. I mean, I think Leeds have a really good team, like players like Dallas and Rafinha and Daniel James, obviously, for Man United.
Yeah,
I think they do have a good team, but it's just they aren't performing well just now.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And you know me, I won't say a rival player's good. Like, I've been roasted for this over the past, let's say, 12 hours on Twitter. But if we're talking about Leeds, like they've got an all right team, haven't they? Like finished around mid-table last season, which was about right for them. But what I noticed was in the start, like the start of the Premier League season last season. Everyone was noticing, like Gary Neville, for example, constantly going on about them, constantly saying they're the most attractive team in the league to watch. You've got these pundits, Jamie Carragher, you've got the media, the football media saying, oh, they're a very attractive team to watch. And they were getting battered. They were either winning games or getting battered. And there was a lot of goals, like when we beat them 6-2, like when Liverpool beat them, like was it 3-2? And there was end-to-end games that were very interesting to watch as a fan. like as a fan of like United watching us beat Leeds 6-2. However, for Leeds, it's absolutely not. It's not the ideal way that they want to play. However, that's their manager's style of play. And I feel like they've gone more defensive, but tried to keep it the same way, if that makes sense, in the same attacking way. And it just looks very weird. It looks like the players are confused in what they're supposed to do, and it just looks all very weird. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think they're missing key players as well, like Phillips and Bamford, like because obviously they were a big help to the team last season.
Yeah.
And if they don't know the way they're playing, then it feels a wee bit like Ollie when he was at Man United. I feel like the Man U team didn't really know how they were meant to play, like McTominay, for example.
Yeah,
He
no,
didn't
I
really
agree.
know how he was meant to play.
I agree.
But,
Yeah, you know me. I'll defend McTominay forever. Always defending him. But Donny Imani says, in all honesty, if Chelsea can't keep up with City and Liverpool, I'd rather City win than Liverpool tie with 20 league titles. It's like Gary Neville said. It's like having a choice between two blokes to nick your wife, and you don't like them both. And do you know what I mean? So, but in all honesty, I would rather. Do you know what I mean? I would rather City win it, but. Let's hope we can do a title charge and just go unbeaten when we can play, obviously. City should win, to be honest. They probably should win the title with the squad they've got, but who knows? Bielsa shouldn't be sacked. That's an opposing opinion, I guess. That's an opposing opinion. I'd like to hear your opinions on that, Alan. Going to Norwich 0, Aston Villa 2. And Aston Villa are another team recently who I want to lose every single game because Steven Gerrard is there. Now, I'm sure you're glad that Steven Gerrard has left Rangers, as they're not as hard to beat as they were now. As obviously you're a St Mirren fan, so it's obviously again it was a sort of routine win if that's what you would call it. However, Jacob Ramsey, I've noticed Jacob Ramsey. I noticed him, I think during last season, the middle of last season, and he started to come into their team, and he looked all right. However, I think he's looking really good now. He like, sadly, Gerrard knows how to use him and how to unlock him, if you will. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
I don't think he's going to be anything special, one of the best in the league or anything like that. But maybe he can be. What's your thoughts on him?
I think he can be a really good player in the future. Gerrard seems to be getting the best out of him again so far in the midfield for Villa. And after watching him for Rangers for so long, I know how he plays that Villa team. And they play some good football at times, I think. Obviously, get McGinnis left foot and try to play passes. And it's just, they're playing really well for what he came in to. And then turn that around.
100%. They are playing well, and obviously, again, it's horrible to admit that a team managed by Steven Gerrard is playing well for me. But at the end of the day, they're sort of they're not going to challenge us for anything or anything like that. But I feel like if Jack Grealish had stayed there, maybe they would have started challenging, if that makes sense. Maybe he would have benefited from staying there. Obviously, you can't read into the future and say and think, oh, Steven Gerrard might be managing this team soon, because no one could have really read that happening. But he's not getting much game time at City, and he's struggling at City. Now, did he get a goal? He didn't get a goal against Leeds, so obviously he's struggling. What has he got? 2 or 3 goals now? In like 12 games, something like that. So he did get 1 goal against Leeds, I've just read. But however, it's not enough, is it, for £100 million? Do you think he would have been better staying at Villa?
Yes, by the way Villa are playing and the players that they've got, I think it would have been much better staying at Villa. As well, if you look at like Kevin De Bruyne, like he's on fire so far in this season. Like that second goal against Leeds was the amount of power that he got through the shot was just amazing.
Yeah,
I don't see much other players who can do stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I completely agree. But again, it's about the money in it, and it's about the sort of wanting to chase the trophy, and obviously you can understand that to an extent. But I don't think I'd ever leave my boyhood club personally. Could you leave St Mirren if you were playing for them?
I don't know. It depends where. I guess if I got a Premier League club, I probably would. But I guess it's weird because you don't want it, but then you're playing better football and in a better league. And
yeah, Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's obviously a difficult decision to make, and I apologise for putting you on the spot there. It's obviously it's a question I do love asking people. To be fair, would you leave your boyhood club for a club that's doing better at the time? I ask people in real life who I speak to as well. Now we'll get on to Arsenal West Ham, and I want to ask you sort of your opinion on the Aubameyang situation. Obviously, Aubameyang broke COVID protocol, which it seems most players have actually done that recently. And obviously it's not ended well, has it? But Aubameyang broke COVID protocol whilst being the captain. Now, it's been made a kind of big thing of. However, I feel like it would be made a massive thing of if that was Harry Maguire or that was Harry Kane, for example. Maybe, do you know what I mean? It would be made a huge thing of. Now, do you think that deserves him to be stripped of the captaincy?
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like for our size at Arsenal and their history, I feel like United represent that. And I don't think Aubameyang's the level that he used to be at anymore.
No, I agree.
I feel like a Tierney or maybe Lacazette would be a much better captain, and they could step out of the role much better.
No, I agree. I completely agree. Especially the performance Lacazette put in against West Ham. It was a very good performance. I'm not sure if you watched the game or not, but it was a very, very good performance. And he looked like a different player to what I've seen in like the past 2 years from any of his performances, really.
Yeah.
But if we're sort of discussing about like Aubameyang, do you think it was like, it seems too much of a coincidence for me for him to get that big money contract and then just disappear in the sense of not perform very well at all ever? Do you think it was that?
It feels a wee bit weird in a way, in a sense. It doesn't feel like he wants to be at Arsenal anymore. And
No,
I
I
could
agree.
understand it if he's not enjoying his football, but I mean, breaking COVID protocols in a time like this isn't something that you should be doing as captain of a club like Arsenal.
No, it's 100% not. It's unacceptable in it, and obviously, like, we're not feeling the anger ourselves, and then the disappointment because we're not Arsenal fans. But I can imagine from an Arsenal fan point of view, you'd be feeling the anger and you'd be feeling the frustration. And like let's say when there was a lot going on with Maguire when he was in Greece, and he got in that trouble with the police. See, my opinion of that was my captain. You know what I mean? A lot of people's was, oh, don't like he shouldn't be doing stuff like that. But my opinion of that was my captain sort of thing. Like that's my captain. I'm glad he's done that because he was defending his sister. However, with this, it's not like he was defending anyone. He's just blatantly done wrong in the sense of going against the rules. No. I'll just get into a question. Lewis Edwards says, you're new in the chat as well, Lewis, so I'd appreciate a subscription if you could, and I appreciate the chat. Who do Man United need to get? So Kynes replied to that and said, United need Jones, Pogba, Martial, Lingard, Henderson, Matic and Shaw to leave. We need to bring in Rice, Jankovic. I'm not too sure who Jankovic is. Vlahovic, Damsgaard, Toure, Haidara, and I'd love Nkunku, but we aren't linked at all. I know we're linked to Haidara. We're slightly linked to Vlahovic, but very, very, not really. I do agree we need to get rid of Pogba, Jones, Martial, Lingard, Henderson, Matic, Shaw, and Pereira. I would say there's a massive clear out needed, and it's going to take a year or two again. It's like a similar situation to 2019. Would you agree with that, or would you say we need to keep any of these players?
I don't know about Lingard, and it feels weird with the Henderson situation because I think he is a really, really, really good goalkeeper, but he's just not, and David De Gea is just miles better.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah, and it's just not worked out with Henderson. A lot of people are obviously Team De Gea, Team Henderson. For me, it was always who is the better keeper, and I've changed my mind a few times. I've been like, oh, maybe De Gea is not good enough anymore, and maybe Henderson should be number one. And now I'm like, De Gea is definitely back to his best. You know what I mean? He definitely should be number one, and I think I'm going to stick with that. But again, my mind can change. We could win the Champions League with Henderson in net. Do you know what I mean? And my mind could change, but it's unlikely to happen at this point. 98% of footballers want to play for United. The other 2% are lying. I completely agree with that. Now, obviously, United haven't played it, and we, me, and Kine, and Donny in the chat, and Alan in the chat are all keen to talk about our clubs that I haven't played. And it's obviously there's a lot going on right now. and there's a lot of talk in the media about Martial and Pogba, and there's been talk about Henderson that doesn't want to play. Now, I don't know if you've seen, Robbie, Ralph Rangnick's comments where basically, I'm not going to convince anyone to play for Man United.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to be convinced to play for the biggest club in the world, which I completely agree with. I feel like that was one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's biggest mistakes, which was convincing Pogba to stay. If you don't want to be here, go. And sort of Pogba was getting like I wouldn't say getting away with it. He was putting in some good performances in January, but if I'm sitting back, he doesn't do it consistently enough for the money that he's on. And people can say it's this, it's that. He's got this injury, he does that, and this, that, and the other. And it's his agent, but there's a massive issue at the club with the players that not putting in the performances and not putting in the effort on the pitch. And for me, I noticed Pogba and Martial to be two huge ones with that. Do you agree with that, or do you disagree?
I agree with that, yeah. I feel like, I don't know why managers try and convince their players to stay sometimes, because it's like if they don't want to play the club, then they don't want to play the club, and that's what we're seeing with like the likes of Paul Pogba.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And it isn't just like let's say the performances. It isn't just the media talk. It's everything all mixed together.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fact that United and it's not Pogba's fault. It's United's fault that this contract is still on the table of £500,000 a week to be the highest paid player in Premier League history. He doesn't warrant that. But now, where he will go in the summer, I don't know. If it was my choice, I'd probably sell him in January, get the money and get a midfielder in, or get a right back in, or get a centre back in. Do you know what I mean? Do something where it's going to benefit us more than Pogba being part of the squad, which he rarely is because he gets injured a lot. Now, he may go to Real Madrid. Donny says Real Madrid are a big pull as well. He's always talked about Real Madrid. He's always basically said Real Madrid's my dream. And since he's been here, he's basically flirted with Real Madrid the whole time. Now, it's obviously a very difficult situation with La Liga because they're in a lot of money troubles, aren't they, Real Madrid, and especially Barcelona. So can you see him going to Real Madrid, or can you see him going to PSG?
I think the most likely one's Real Madrid, since I just feel like he loves the club.
Yeah.
But
Do
you think you would get rid of Donny if he's not going to be played and bring in a quality midfielder who will play?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe that will happen. And I know that it's today the talk has been that Ralph Rangnick is reluctant to let go of Donny in January because he wants to play the midfielder. So hope not. I'm sure we hope it all works out very well. However, I think it would be best for the club and for Donny van de Beek if he's still not being played in the summer to just move on. Do you know what I mean? It just hasn't worked out. De Gea has regained his form. Feel for Hendo, though. Class player and a United fan. Yeah, there's that picture with him celebrating with Rashford on Rashford's first goal. Pineapple says Carrie Hayne. Ronaldo and Sir Alex Ferguson interview going to be lit. I assume you all watched that, Robbie. Obviously, it's Sir Alex. It's going to be on the United app, I think. I've seen the 59-second clip. Have you seen it?
No.
No, United tweeted it before. So I think it's going to be released on the United app, and I'm not sure when. It might be like Christmas Day or something like that. It's released. Brentford might be bought by a bunch of cryptocurrency investors. I didn't know that, actually. I've not seen anything about that. That's mad. They must be very rich. But we'll go back into the Arsenal-West Ham game. Now, West Ham, who they are challengers for top four. Let's face it, they are.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they've dropped points in this game, even though Arsenal have moved above us. But do you think they're more likely to get top four than United, or do you think United are more likely to get top four?
I think United are more likely to get top four, because looking at this game, like if West Ham want to be a top four club, you need to be consistently picking up results against teams like Arsenal, who have dropped off over the past few seasons. And I think there's a big step up between the top six and the top four, because in top four you need to be more consistent. Yeah. And teams like West Ham aren't being consistent just now, so I can definitely see them not getting top four and United being into the top four.
Yeah, I agree. I can see. I know like teams like Barcelona and Borussia Dortmund dropped into the Europa League. However, West Ham are obviously in that, and they've just topped the group and they've done very well. Can you see them winning that, or do you think it's going to be too much for them?
It's definitely going to be a challenge. I feel like Borussia Dortmund are the clear ones to win now, or Barcelona.
But I don't think Barcelona will win it personally. I think obviously the name Barcelona. If you're saying the name Barcelona, it's like Jesus, like surely they win the Europa League, shouldn't be in the Europa League in the first place. But the team just isn't good enough, is it? It's not like obviously we've been in the Europa League in recent years, and we've seen the quality of teams that sort of we had, you know what I mean, and it weren't great. And I think it's a similar situation with Barcelona, so I don't think they will win it. However, I do think Dortmund will win it, which kind of says West Ham will win Europa League and get top 6. Still waiting for that Donny Q&A from United. Yeah, it will be fun if that drops. I think, didn't he do a podcast with Rio Ferdinand on Vibe with 5 at some point recently? Will Spurs and Arsenal get European football? What do you think about
that? Yeah, Arsenal, and I don't know about Spurs because I think Harry Kane's going to leave potentially in January, and I think I don't see who they could bring in as a better striker than Kane. I mean, you can clearly see that he doesn't want to play for Tottenham just now with the way he's playing.
for sure.
He's one of the best strikers they've had in a long time, so I think they'd be lost without him.
Yeah, I completely agree. So you think he'll leave in January? Where do you think he'll go?
I think PSG.
That would be very interesting, and I'd be very glad because that means City wouldn't get him.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I would prefer him to go to City than Haaland to go to City. Although I don't want Haaland at United personally. But it's I don't think Spurs will get European football. I don't think they're good enough, but I think Arsenal could do personally. So we're going to Crystal Palace, Southampton, and what a player Conor Gallagher is. Despite not doing anything here today, well, not today, this game, like as in goal or assist, but what a player he is. He's an unbelievable player. Always the star player on the pitch. I've spoken about him several times on this channel, and I've said during the lockdown when he was playing for West Brom, I always kept saying that Conor Gallagher lad, he looks good. I'd actually take him at United, and my uncle kept saying to me like looking at me like I'm a bit weird, like saying, "Oh, he's definitely not good enough." Do you know what I mean? But honestly, I honestly believe he's going to be one of the best midfielders in the Premier League soon.
Yeah.
Now, do you think the best thing would be for him to go back to Chelsea after this season, or do you think it will be to go back to Crystal Palace?
I think go to Crystal Palace because you can see what Crystal Palace are trying to build. Patrick Vieira's, I think, doing a fantastic job so far. Like even players like Edward, like I've seen what he can do because obviously I played for Celtic, and he can score a lot of goals. But that was 3 chances in that Southampton game that he missed, and you can't be missing 3 chances in a Premier League game. It just isn't good enough.
No, not at all. It's definitely not good enough, and it's clear that they're building something at Crystal Palace, isn't it? With Patrick Vieira there, and he's doing very well. Obviously, they sort of would have expected in their recent form to beat Southampton. However, they didn't. But it was a hard-fought win, and funnily enough, I'm not sure if you were watching it, but it was on the commentary. It was said that Jordan Ayew hadn't scored for 43 games or something like that. And me and my uncle were sort of saying, you sort of want him to score now, you know what I mean, to sort of prove the commentators wrong. But he did manage to get a goal. We got a goal in 65th minute. Now, again, it looks like they're building something with Odsonne Edouard getting the assist. Do you think they're going to push for, like, let's say, the Europa Conference League, or do you think it's just going to be mid-table this season?
I think they can get Conference League, and I think they compete very well in it, but I just don't see it so far.
No, I don't see it personally. But I do think it could be mid-table though. And that's not a bad season for Crystal Palace personally, is it? If you're looking at their recent finishes in recent years, they're just trying to not get relegated with performances that are sort of very pragmatic, very you know what you're going to get with Roy Hodgson, don't you? Do you know what I mean? And with Patrick Vieira, for them, it's something exciting. It really seems like it's something exciting for them. Now with Southampton, would you say James Ward-Prowse is the best free kick taker in the world currently?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I would.
It's just a touch of class on free kicks. You could guaranteed score most that you put him up for.
Yeah. Yeah,
Would you take him at United?
Yeah, I'd love him. I'd love him over Fred on free kicks at United. I remember when Fred stood over a free kick when we were 3-0 down against City at one point. I hated that. It annoyed me that. But honestly, I'd actually take him in midfield at United. Now I don't think he's better than McTominay personally. He's not better than Fred, but I think he will be a better fit in the system, if that makes sense. Ralph Hasenhüttl has worked with Ralph Rangnick before, and obviously they're still, I think they're still quite close in the sense of speaking to each other a lot. I think he will be a good player for United to get. I don't think we will get him. I think it will be ideal though for us to get him.
Yeah.
Now Armando Broja. I'm still not sure how you pronounce the name, but me and Baz spoke about him on the podcast a few weeks ago, and he's becoming a fan favorite for sure, isn't he? And he got amongst the score sheet here. With them going, they went 2-1 up at this point. So, what do you think about him? He's another Chelsea lad, isn't he?
Yeah, he's actually a very good player. I really rate him. But like they're trying to build something like bringing in Broha, who's like 20, but then they're bringing in like Caballero and goals, who's like from Man City and he's really old. Like I feel like you need the quality, but you need to try and sign players who are below a certain age, because two old players you're never going to get anywhere with them.
No,
really.
yeah, I agree. I do agree with that. It's obviously a difficult situation with them because I think Ralph Hasenhüttl's a good manager, and the results do say otherwise. However, I don't know. There was something about him last season which I thought, yeah, he's good manager, and I've also mentioned it a few times with him bringing a dressing room back from one 9-0 win and then another 9-0 loss and then another 9-0 loss.
Yeah.
It's a huge thing. It's obviously it's quite memed at this point, but it's a huge thing to sort of do. Most managers would walk away or be sacked after one 9-0 loss, but for Southampton to back him after two, it really says something about their belief in him, and I think he can do it. They've got obviously a long way to go, another rebuild again, but again, I think they can do it. And go on to someone whose manager I'm starting to lose faith in, and I've spoke highly of it in recent months, is Graham Potter and Brighton. They're now winless in like, is it 14 games, 15 games, something like that, and it's not looking good for them, is it? It's not looking good at all. I think there's still maybe like what position are they, like 13th or something like that. And obviously they started very well and they were in the top 4 6 weeks in or something like that, and that's what's kept them at this position, that they're not relegated, like getting the relegation zone right now. However, if they're not careful and they don't start picking up the points, especially at home, which they struggled with last season as well, then they're going to end up getting relegated, aren't they? Can you see that happening?
Definitely, but like they're picking up results against like a 2-0 draw with Liverpool, a 1-0 with West Ham. Like they're taking big teams and they're taking points off them, but they just can't pick up a win. It's like it's so inconsistent in a way.
Yeah, it is.
They just can't win.
And they play good football as well, like they do. And they've got some good, promising young talents. As you know, I like. I love Tariq Lamptey, and they've got Yves Bissouma, and they've got Leandro Trossard, who are great. And even on the bench, you've got Alexis McAllister, who I think he's an all right player too. Even Aaron Connolly, to a certain extent, I think he's all right. I don't think he's anything special, but I think he's all right. Now, with Wolves, it really seems like they're doing something better than they were with Nuno at this point. That's quite a controversial thing to say, considering he got them out of the hardest league in the world in the Championship. Now, they're not putting in, I wouldn't say, like well-beaten performances or anything. Although against us, they should have been like 4-0 up at half time. But I'm still not sure how you pronounce this name either. Roman Saiss or Saiss. Again, he's been putting in some great performances, and so has Conor Cody. Now, we were all confused when Conor Cody went into the England squad last time. Do you think he deserves to get in again in the next international break off his recent form?
He's definitely good enough. I think the whole Wolves team are good enough in their own right. Like if you look at like Nelson Semedo and even Hwang Hee-chan, who's only been there for like the start of the season. I think he's a really good striker.
Yeah, No, I agree. From what we've seen of him, and obviously he doesn't. I was wondering why actually. I think it was either this game that I was watching, or no, it wasn't this game. I think it was the game before, and he was on the bench, and I was thinking, didn't he start very well? He scored on his debut, didn't he? And he started
Yeah,
very well, and they've just put him on the bench. I'm not sure whether he was injured or not, though. Mr. Drippy says hello. Hi, Mr. Drippy. Thank you
yeah,
for dropping in. I would appreciate if you leave a like as well. Ralph, two former RB Leipzig managers with the name Ralph in the Premier League. It's a massive coincidence, that, isn't it? Huge coincidence. We're getting to Liverpool 3, Newcastle 1, which Mr. Drippy won't be happy about, and neither am I. It's just a routine win for Newcastle, isn't it? Despite John Joe Shelby taking for Liverpool, despite John Joe Shelby taking Newcastle 1-0. Look, getting my words mixed up there.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just a routine win, that, isn't
Yeah,
it?
the thing with Shelby as well, like he's so inconsistent because he scored, but then he basically gave away the goal as well.
Well, I didn't have the game on. I had the Chelsea game on. So again, he wants me to do the accent. Maybe another time. Maybe another time. I'll be live again on Tuesday. Whether that's for a Premier League game week review of only 5 games, or whether that's because for a debate, we don't know yet. There's still so much uncertainty. Just 24 hours going into the Premier League. You know what I mean? There's so much uncertainty. But again, do you think Newcastle are going down?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think with midfielders like Shelby, you're never going to really get above mid-table.
No.
But like
No.
they do obviously have like Dubravka in goal. I think he's a fantastic goalkeeper, but
No, I agree.
they just don't have the quality this season to stay up.
No, I agree with that. It's the defense and the midfield, like the attack. I wouldn't say Joelinton's good enough to an extent, but I would say Sam Maximan's good enough, and even
Yeah,
Jacob Murphy's good enough. I think that's his name, Jacob Murphy.
yeah,
And you've got Willock, who's all right. He's not great, but he's all right. And but you've just not got any midfield there, and then the defense is a championship level defense, despite the goalkeeper being a great goalkeeper. It's a championship level defense, and
yeah.
I think it's sort of guaranteed that they go down. So where do you think they go with the rebuild from going down?
I think they definitely need some defenders. Maybe a
Yeah,
new goalkeeper because Dubravka's quite old, I think. And you need to try and hold out St. Maximin at a club for as long as you can because I think he could play in any maybe top 6, top 7 Premier League club. I think he's got a
I
quality
completely
for it.
agree. I completely agree. I think he could play in a Champions League team. I honestly do. I think he's a great player. I know some Newcastle fans don't rate him, and I'm not sure how. I think it's because he's been sort of greedy in recent weeks. But Pineapple says, when Alfie gets in the chat, do the accent, please. I'll do it another stream. We're going to Chelsea 1, Everton 1. Now, Chelsea, it was a very hard fought win from Everton. Let's not take anything away from Everton here. It was a very Everton only had they had some youngsters on the pitch for most of the game, and obviously I don't think the game really should have gone ahead because of both teams having COVID outbreaks, but it did go ahead, and Everton really fought hard to win it. They actually played better with youngsters on the pitch than they have done with some of the senior players on the pitch, which is a bit mad. So, but
Yeah,
Chelsea seem to be struggling in recent weeks, don't they?
yeah,
Honestly, they really do seem to be struggling, and it's not great, is it? Because again, I would rather them win the title than the other two. But
yeah.
what do you think the issue is?
Well, it's like the same, but as I said earlier, it's like with West Ham, it's like to be a top 4 club, or even Chelsea's case, a champion, like a title winning club. Like you need to be so consistent in like a top 4. And with that game there, it just shows that Chelsea aren't doing it just now.
No, yeah, I agree. I
I
do
think
agree. But
Mount's definitely our best player,
no,
and I
yeah, I
think
agree with that. A lot
fantastic.
of people have said he's overrated, but I don't think he is. We're going to go into Ron's comment. He says Newcastle are mistaken if they think money. It's just money that makes a club. I do agree with that actually, because obviously United have got a lot of money, but you look at teams like St Mirren, for example. Like not the richest club in the world by any stretch, are you? And from what I can gather, obviously just from your Twitter and stuff like that, there seems to be a real togetherness and a real sort of and it's very known as well with non-league clubs. I've been to see Altrincham before. I've been to see I think I've been to see Salford City before. There's a real sort of family sort of let's get together and enjoy the game sort of that sort of vibe. Do you know what I mean? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. It's like, as you've probably seen on Twitter, it's like a lot of Salmon fans like to moan, but
Yeah.
we obviously love the club, and it's, we go to the matches, we might moan at half time or boo the players off, but we just want them to do well at the end of the day, and it's hard
Oh yeah, of
sometimes.
course. Of course, 100%. It's 100% hard, and I know Kine goes to support some non-league clubs, like local clubs as well, and it's great. It's obviously great. Like it isn't just money that makes a club, and we do see it. We're seeing that with City, for example. You can buy everything you want, but you can't buy the loyalist fans in the world. Like you just can't. And it's not just taking the piss out of City here. It's genuinely true. Man City and Chelsea say hello, Ronald. Yeah, well, yeah, but they haven't bought fans, have they? Well, they kind of have in a way, but the ones who supported the club many years ago, like before they got bought, in my opinion, are more loyal than the ones who've just started supporting. But that's quite a controversial thing to say, I guess. It's a bit breezy at Old Trafford. I think you're talking about air, aren't you? I don't know why it pixelates there. It annoys me. It does annoy me. I don't like Salford, to be honest. Can I just say to you guys, it got made today. There will be a video on Christmas Day. It'll be scheduled to upload at 2 p.m. Sorry to sort of stop the chat here, Robbie. I just want to say this. There will be a video on Christmas Day. It'll just be sort of an update video, a thank you video, because I know for sure from something that happened yesterday that next week will be a big week for me personally, just from something that happened yesterday. A big week in a good way. I'm hoping, and it's very likely. So there will be a good video coming up, just an update video and a thank you video. I just want you guys to let you guys know that, and I don't expect you to watch it on Christmas Day, but whenever you're free, obviously, whether that's Boxing Day, whether that's Christmas night, whether that's whenever, just watch it. And but with Everton, we'll go back to Everton now. Obviously, it was a very hard fought draw. And it must have felt like a win in a way to the players. Yeah. What can you see them doing with the rest of the season? Because they've not been on great form. Rafa Benitez is struggling to win over the manager and the fans. So what can you see them doing? Can you see Rafa Benitez being sacked?
If they don't pick up form, yes, but their fixtures, I think they've got Newcastle, then Brighton, and maybe Burnley next. So these are the results that you need to start putting out wins, because Everton are a good club and they have got good players. I think Mina's a fantastic centre back, but obviously he's not in the team just now. But I think you can't always rely on the youth players. Like, I've never heard of that Bradamwaite before last night's match, but it seems like a good player to have in the team.
And Dobbin from last night's match as well looked quite. He stood out to me. I thought he stood out because of his name as well. Because obviously Pogba, well, not Pogba. I did find out the same from Pogba. It was known from I think some song or something, dabbing on them haters. So I sort of made a joke in dabbing on them haters. But obviously he looked like a good player, Dobbin. And like you say, you can't just rely on youth. And we've been there as United, and like we're relying on Greenwood to get goals, and it's never ends well. Whether it ends in injuries or whether it ends in the player not being too happy and stuff like that, it never ends well. But we'll get into sort of. I want to ask you and sort of have a discussion whether that's. We'll get into a few comments first. I go about the Salford, about the non-league, basically. I go Salford home and away a lot. It's an atmosphere that's a proper feeling of everyone's together, not tourists like at Old Trafford, to be fair. No, yeah. That's what I was trying to say. You put it in better words than me, I guess. I also want to let you guys know I'm on a channel tonight. I was on last week as well, called Let's Talk Premier League. It's just a nice chat between I think 3 or 4 of us, and I've been invited on again. So if you guys want to see me on tonight, it's at 9 p.m. UK time. If anyone's not in the UK, Let's Talk Premier League. I used to signed out, sorry, pin tweet, nice, yep. That will be coming up, and I'm gonna hope everyone hypes it up as much as they did last time. Greenwood being from Bradford makes me happy. Yeah, he's obviously shining, isn't he? But I want to get into a discussion with you about what's the most realistic scenario for the Premier League. Now, I know that have Scotland just gone on lockdown?
Not entirely on lockdown, but it's really strict rules for basically being told not to leave the house as much as we can. But like, you still can like I can go to the Sunderland game on Wednesday if I wanted to, but like,
okay,
it's not suggested. So
okay. Well, but that's basically the same here. I think I was reading something last night that Scotland and Wales are prepared to stop like horse racing events, fans going to horse racing events, and stop people going to the football grounds and stuff like that. And I assume that we'll follow suit soon in this country. Do you think that's the most realistic? What do you think is the most realistic thing to happen with the Premier League going forward? And when I say going forward, I mean within the next month, obviously, not even in the next 3 months.
but a point that I was making was like, obviously in January they've got the FA Cup games on, and like teams like Morecambe are going away to Tottenham, and like the finance that they'll bring in because the ticket sales of Tottenham will be massive. So they sort of need to rely on them sort of games to be like fans
your connection is
go
dropping
in.
out
So
a lot.
You need to try and do everything you can to keep fans in the stadiums, I think.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt there.
But
Your connection.
if it doesn't, then behind closed doors, I don't think would be the worst thing.
No, I agree with you there. Sorry to interrupt there. Your connection does keep dropping out. I'm not sure why that's happening, whether that's my Wi-Fi, because my Wi-Fi was messing up before as well. But like obviously Ron's in the chat here, and as you know, so did Baines respond? No, he hasn't responded, okay. Sadly, no. Sorry to interrupt there. The crypto boys are bringing Mason Greenwood home. Absolutely not. You're not stealing him from us. Benitez, when the board appoint a manager, they know that the fans don't approve. They know the fans don't approve of. Does that tell you the low importance that executives give to the fans? Very good point, that Ron. Very good point. It is a very good point, and obviously the whole since the Super League happened in April, it was like, oh, football is for the fans. Can you hear me still? Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. There was a lot of obviously football is for the fans, and it really isn't. It's for profit and for doing what they want. Basically, it's like a toy to them, innit? But since speaking to Ron on Tuesday about the fans in the ground, shit's hit the fan, and it like it has, and it really has. Now, what I can see the most realistic thing being is the Premier League shuts down. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. The most realistic thing is the Premier League shuts down and for a week or two, and then it's behind closed doors, which I wouldn't mind, because personally, what happened, how they did it last year, which I said on the stream yesterday, it helped my mental health. With on Saturday they had it on all on TV, 12 p.m, 3 p.m, 5:30 p.m, 8 p.m, and then I think it was similar on Sundays. And there was games on most days, and obviously that helps people's mental health. But again, it's a difficult situation. I do think that they're going to end up being forced to do that in the end of the day.
Yeah.
But, and do you agree with me? Yeah. Robbie's connection's dropping out a lot, and someone said data with the downwards arrow. So we will end the stream there, but I want to say a massive thank you to you for coming on, Robbie. I hope you enjoyed it. No problem. I can't hear you, but I can see what you're saying. Thank you, you guys, for tuning in. I'll be live on Tuesday, regardless of what happens with the Premier League, whether that's a debate or a Premier League game week review. I'll be live on Let's Talk Premier League tonight at 9 p.m. with the lads. Just trying to stream and you ending it. Yeah, we're ending it because the streams, the data's obviously, the connection is not great right now. And also, there wasn't as many games to talk about. You know what I mean? So I want to say thank you to you guys for tuning in.
Yeah,
and we'll see you on Tuesday.
Definitely.